I accepted the ride request at 2:17 in the morning, and from the very first second something was wrong. Not a vague feeling. Something specific and concrete. Right from the moment I looked at my phone screen and saw the pickup address. Highway 50, mile marker 31, beside the abandoned gas station. I had been a rideshare driver for 3 years in Sacramento. Highway 50 was a road I drove almost every night, stretching east from the city center through thinning suburbs, then pushing straight into the Sierra Nevada. And I knew mile marker 31, that stretch where the highway goes dark, no streetlights, no houses, nothing on either side but dry grass and the kind of darkness that feels like it has weight. Nobody stood out there at 2 in the morning waiting for a ride. My name is Marcus. I was 31 years old, driving nights because rent doesn't wait, and that night I had already been behind the wheel for 8 straight hours, so my mind wasn't as sharp as it was at the start of the shift. I accepted the ride. It took me 17 minutes to get there. The gas station appeared in my headlights, the old sign dark for years, fuel pumps leaning to one side like they were about to fall, dry weeds pushing through cracked concrete. The canopy had partially collapsed. The office window was shattered, black inside. No lights. No readable signage. Just darkness and the sound of highway wind moving through empty frames. And a man standing beside one of the old fuel pumps. I pulled up, switched on the interior light out of habit and looked through the windshield. The man walked toward the car. I estimated around 50 years old, wearing a white dress shirt and black slacks. Office clothes, not the outfit of someone standing on a highway shoulder at 2 in the morning. Hair neatly combed. Carrying nothing. No suitcase, no bag, nothing at all. He opened the rear door and got in. "Thank you for coming," he said. Calm, polite, like someone stepping into a meeting rather than someone who had just been standing alone in the dark on Highway 50. "Where are you headed?" I asked, eyes on the rearview mirror. 14 Capitol Avenue, he said. Downtown Sacramento. I entered the address. 25 minutes. I pulled back onto the highway. The first 5 minutes were silent. I drove, he looked out the window, the headlights of westbound cars occasionally sweeping across his face. Normal. I had carried hundreds of passengers who said nothing the entire trip. Then he spoke. "How long have you been doing this?" 3 years, I said. "You drive nights a lot?" "Regularly." "Ever run into anything strange out here?" That question made me glance up at the rearview mirror. He was still looking out the window, not at me. His voice was unhurried, like he was asking about the weather. "Nothing in particular," I said carefully. He nodded slowly. "Tonight you will," he said. That I didn't respond. I kept my eyes on the road. 2 westbound lanes, sparse at this hour, streetlights becoming more frequent as we moved toward the suburbs. "Do you know why I was standing at that gas station?" he continued. "I don't," I said. "And honestly, I don't need to. I was standing there for 2 hours," he said, his voice unchanged. "Not waiting for a ride. I don't know what I was doing there. I was just standing there, and I had no memory of how I arrived." I tightened my grip on the wheel. "Do you need me to take you to a hospital?" I asked. "UC Davis Medical Center isn't far." "No, firm. I don't need a hospital. I just need to go home." He paused. I remember driving. I was on Highway 50 heading home after a late shift. Then I heard someone calling my name from the direction of that gas station. After that, I don't remember anything. When I came back to myself, I was standing beside that fuel pump and my phone was dead. I said nothing. I was thinking about the cancel button on my phone screen. One tap and this would be over. But before I could decide, he said one more thing that made the temperature in the car feel like it dropped several degrees. "Excuse me," he said, and for the first time his voice carried something that wasn't calm. "Does your car have a rearview mirror?" "Yes," I said, confused. "I'm looking at it right now. Can you see me in it?" I looked into the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty. I hit the brakes. The car lurched onto the right shoulder and stopped on the Highway 50 emergency lane. I turned completely around and looked directly at the back seat. He was there, clearly. White dress shirt, neatly combed hair, hands resting on his thighs. Looking at me with an expression of complete calm. I turned back to the rearview mirror. The back seat in the mirror, empty. I looked directly at the back seat, someone sitting there. I did this 3 more times. The result didn't change. I know, he said, his voice tired now. I tried at a diner up the highway before I found a ride. The bathroom mirror didn't show me. The front-facing camera couldn't see me. But I'm still here. I can still speak. I could still open the car door. He looked at his own hands. I just don't know what happened to me at that gas station. Behind my car, a semi-truck thundered past on the highway, shaking the whole vehicle. I sat on the shoulder of Highway 50 at 2 in the morning and tried to process what was happening. "What's your name?" I asked. The most useless question possible right now, but for some reason I needed to know. "Daniel," he said. "Mr. Daniel," I said slowly. "I'm going to keep driving to the address you gave me. But I need you to answer one thing honestly first." "All right. Are you certain you want to go home?" He looked at me for a long moment in the dark. "What do you mean?" "I mean," I said, choosing every word carefully, "that sometimes people can't go home anymore for reasons that aren't always clear. And if you arrive home in this condition, I don't know what will happen to the people who are there." That sentence sat in the car between us, underneath the sound of the idling engine and the occasional rush of highway traffic. "My wife," he said, and his voice cracked for the first time. "Not much. Just slightly. Like a hairline fracture in glass. And my daughter. She's 9. I closed my eyes for a second, then opened them. "Have you tried calling them?" "Phone is dead." "Use mine." I held my phone out toward the back seat. Daniel took it. I saw his hand make contact with the phone. I saw him dial. I saw the screen light up. But when I looked in the mirror, all I could see was a phone floating in midair with no hand holding it. He called. I heard it ringing through the speaker. 1 ring. 2. 3. Someone answered. A woman's voice, tangled between sleepiness and worry. "Daniel? Daniel, where are you? I've been calling you all night." Your phone kept going straight to voicemail. "It's me," he said, and I heard something in his voice I will never forget. A mixture of relief and pain and something else I don't have a name for. "Can you hear me?" "I can hear you. Are you okay? Where are you calling from?" "I'm on my way home." He paused, voice dropping lower. "Can you check something for me?" "Go to the bedroom." "Tell me, am I there? Am I in the bed?" A short silence on the other end. Footsteps. The sound of a bedroom door opening. Then the woman's voice again, completely transformed, no longer sleepy, no longer ordinarily worried. Something deeper, something wrong in it. "Daniel, you're here. You're asleep right here in the bed. I'm looking at you right now. How are you calling me?" Daniel handed the phone back to me without another word. I took it. The other end was still connected. I could hear her breathing, small sounds of confusion. I ended the call. We sat in silence for a long time. Outside, Highway 50 stretched east into the darkness, straight and empty. "You understand now?" he said finally. "I don't understand," I said honestly. "But I don't think you should go home tonight." "Then where do I go?" I thought about the abandoned gas station at mile marker 31. About the voice that had called his name out of the dark. About 2 hours of nothing he couldn't remember. About a body asleep in a bed in Sacramento while a voice sat in the back of my car on the shoulder of a highway. "Back to where I picked you up," I said. "Mile marker 31. "Why?" "Because that's where this started," I said. "And what begins somewhere might be able to end there too." Daniel said nothing. But he didn't argue that I checked my mirror, waited for a gap in traffic, and turned back east on Highway 50. 20 minutes later we were back at mile marker 31. I pulled onto the shoulder in the same spot. My headlights swept across the gas station. Collapsed canopy, leaning pumps, dry weeds and broken concrete. Far beyond it, the Sierra Nevada was just a dark, jagged line drawn against the night sky. "Get out here," I said. Daniel opened the car door. I heard it open, solid, real, the way a car door always sounds, and I looked in the mirror. The door swung open in the mirror, but no one stepped out. He was standing outside. I could see him through the side window, standing on the old concrete, white shirt barely visible under a moonless sky. Behind him, the gas station was dark as an open mouth. "What now?" he asked through the cracked window. I don't know, I said honestly. But I think you need to stay here and find back what you lost here. He looked at me for a moment. Then he looked into the darkness of the station. My headlights couldn't reach the deepest parts of it, behind the collapsed columns, behind the shattered office window, where the darkness thickened into something that almost had a shape. Will you wait for me? He asked. I looked at that darkness. No, I said. I rolled the window up. I drove away. I watched the rearview mirror as the car accelerated back onto Highway 50. Daniel stood watching me go, motionless, his white shirt fading into the nig.